Welcome back to the Football Kingdom podcast. I'm Brandon. Along with me is Tyler. We're recapping the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and we got a lot to get into. And as always on this podcast, we're going to lead off with the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night went to Buffalo. Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes on the road for the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era. And this matchup between the Chiefs and the Bills was no different than any of the other playoff matches that the teams have had between Mahomes and Allen. It was back and forth, 5+ lead changes, stressful to watch. And at the end of the day, the Kansas City Chiefs prevail and leave Buffalo and their fans brokenhearted for the third time in 4 years. Tyler, I mean, this was one that we were nervous about.
Oh yeah,
we felt like they could win, the Chiefs, but the Bills are good.
Bills are very good, and they kind of had the Chiefs' number. I mean, I wasn't like, oh, the Chiefs are definitely losing, but I was, it was more like a 70-30, 60-40 mix of like, I don't feel that great about the game, but obviously you're still going to root for them and hope for the best, and it's just the Chiefs had looked so bad. Yet they've kind of found their footing here in the playoffs, and they went in to Buffalo, which, give me a break, Buffalo's fans. Like, I don't know. I'm clearly biased, especially with Arrowhead being the loudest stadium and all that, but there's multiple times throughout the game where I'm like, it ain't that loud there. At the very beginning, it was crazy. It was an absolute madhouse. But there were so many times where they had to be up where before they were really loud. When at Arrowhead, it's like it's just insane all the time. But I mean, yeah, it was a legendary, epic game. As you said, with so many lead changes. But where should we start with this? There's so many epic moments that happen.
Well, let's talk about. I want to talk Mahomes for a second. So going into this game, like I said before, Mahomes had never played a playoff game on the road. And he's 12-3. He has 3 losses, two to Tom Brady and 1 to Joe Burrow in the playoffs. He's never lost to Josh Allen. This is part 3 of the Josh Allen Patrick Mahomes playoff matchup. Obviously, the first one being at Arrowhead, the AFC Championship game. The Chiefs down 10 end up kind of not really blowing out the Bills, but winning comfortably against the Bills. And then the following year, the Chiefs and Bills meet again at Arrowhead in one of the greatest games ever, I would say. This is the classic 13-second game where Chiefs and co drove down the field, game-tying field goal, won the ball in overtime, and eliminated the Bills. And now, this time, Chiefs obviously didn't have the season that they wanted to as far as getting that home field advantage in the playoffs. The Bills, they took care of business the way that they were supposed to be. They won the 2 seed, the Chiefs were the 3 seed. So Chiefs hosted, obviously they hosted Miami last week. Now they have to go on the road to Buffalo, and the whole thing was, well, I don't know. Patrick Mahomes has never had to go on the road. What stupid way can we try to doubt Patrick Mahomes because he hasn't done enough in his career to make us think that he can go on the road and win a playoff game against a team that he's had their number with in the playoffs. But Patrick Mahomes, here we are, adding another little
yet again
accolade to his legacy. But let's just from the top, Bills get the ball. And I want to talk about the lateral, Josh Allen. I'm not convinced. I think the Chiefs probably, if they challenged it, I think it might have been overturned because I'm not convinced that it was a lateral. He was like 4 or 5 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Josh Allen being in, throws it out right. And they were, I think the Bills were, was it like 3rd and 17 or something, or 2nd and 17, something stupid.
I think it was 3rd down, and it was their first drive. And it felt, I don't know if it was like desperate. It just felt a little weird for, I don't know. I think it's probably early game nerves. But at the time, live, I didn't think it was worth challenging. It didn't look like the Chiefs would have won the challenge. And I'm also like, it's a little early. I mean, I don't know. Like they could still, get a first down on the next play or something. But at the time, I'm like, I'd rather have the challenges for later in the game. This is too important of a game. Let's move on, And then I did see some screenshots, after the game that are like, that actually would have been a penalty. He did, that was like a forward pass. When you look at like where he threw it and where the dude caught it because of forward momentum, it probably would have, been overturned. But again, I'm like, I don't know if it would have really. Essentially, let's say, yeah, they make the stop and then they don't get their opening field goal. So, like, sure, maybe they would have not had, 3 points at that point. But
yeah,
I don't know.
But all things considered, it didn't end up mattering, which we're gonna get into. But Josh Allen and the Bills have to settle for a field goal, so take an early 3-0 lead. But the Chiefs drive down and answer and tie the game, so it's 3-3 after one. Let's go to the second quarter. So in the second quarter, so the Bills score, go up. They go up 10-3. And then Chiefs kick another field goal, 10-6. Kind of running into the, Chiefs can't finish a drive. But later in the quarter, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce connect for a touchdown that ties Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski for the most touchdowns by a duo in postseason history, playoff history.
Yeah, quarterback receiver duo.
Which is really cool because Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes has only played for 6 seasons, and he's already surpassed who I think we all agree, Tom Brady, and who is the greatest quarterback of all time with the second best tight end of all time, Rob Gronkowski, behind Kelce. But it's well,
it was back and forth.
Yeah.
They traded field goals to open. And I mean, the Bills were dominating time of possession, and they were dominating the run game. Like they made the Chiefs look like an open door. They just had no answers, and it was for the whole game, quite honestly. But the first half was like there's no answer, And to be fair, Cook is an incredible running back. They found something with him in the last half of the season where that guy was like Pacheco. Like he just all of a sudden is like one of the, great running backs of the season. And they are riding him for, like I said, the last 6 wins in a row that they've had. And yeah, that's kind of that was the story. But, the Chiefs had, at the end of the game, it was the Bills had 37 minutes versus the Chiefs 22. If you would have told me that before the game, I'm like, the Bills are blowing out the Chiefs. 37 minutes to the Chiefs 22. But the way the game played out, they were just running the ball, chipping away all the way down the field and scoring for most of the drives until the later half of the game. But the Chiefs just had much more explosive plays.
Well, the Chiefs had much more explosive plays, but that was also, I think, the game plan for the Bills was
Yeah.
let's take all the time in the world, run some clock down, keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hand, and it worked in the first half. Like, the defense was fairly shaky, I would say.
Yeah, it came back to bite him in the end, though. So yeah, after those opening field goal trades, the Chiefs are still, like you said, stalling in the red zone. And then it was the wide open pass to Kelsey, which is like, how on earth does this guy continue to get ignored? Because mostly for the last of the regular season, he was invisible. They were like double and triple teaming, Kelsey, and then he's just has one of them games. It's just MVP caliber.
Yeah, this was a vintage Travis Kelce game. 5 catches for 75 yards, 2
Yeah, well
touchdowns.
put.
This is exactly what, when you envision Travis Kelce, this is what it is.
And this was the touchdown where he blows a kiss, gives the heart, and they cut to Jason Kelsey shirtless, screaming out of the suite, clearly blasted. And for him, they asked him, like, how many beers did you drink for the Super Bowl speech? And he was like, probably like 20. And he was barely affected by that, so I'm sure he was chilling that night. But yeah, so many awesome moments when they cut up there.
I think so jumping ahead kind of to the third quarter, we just talked about, before I get to that. So let's talk about the Chiefs defense for a second in the second half. I think it's been a theme with the defense lately to have a little bit of, not necessarily like a shaky first half, but not have the best first half and then turn around in the second half and just shut down the opposing offenses. And that pretty much, no, that happened here.
Yeah.
In the second half. The Bills scored in the second half one time in the third quarter. They didn't even score in the fourth quarter.
No.
So defense made an adjustment and just shut down the Bills. But I think something that happened for me early in the third quarter was that timeout that the Bills had to call.
Yeah, it was like a delay game.
They were avoiding a delay game, but it happened very early on in the second half, and I was like, they're going to want that timeout later, probably. Yep. So that's
yes. Those are huge.
Yeah.
Just one of those timeouts is,
I want to talk about, this is jumping ahead a little bit, but I want to talk about the fake punt.
Oh, yeah.
The fake punt that Buffalo ran in their own territory. You and I talked about it. I was watching with friends, and I was like, that's a fake punt. That's going to be a fake punt.
Yes.
And that's exactly what happened. Snap the ball to Damar Hamlin, and Chiefs are like, nope. With 10 men on the field, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Stop that.
That play got maybe 2.5 yards. They needed 4. First of all, Chiefs have 10, and so they essentially have 9 versus 11 or 9 versus 10 essentially on the line. And they don't even get 2.5 yards. And why are you running Damar Hamlin of all people? It's like, if you're going to run a fake, pick a better player to run the ball, or a better play, I guess. So the Chiefs have a great Tommy Townsend pass that they've ran at least 2 or 3 times successfully in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Something. But that's a really bad decision. Way in your your side of the field.
It was unbelievably stupid. I'll just put it that way. And at this point, like, Chiefs are getting really good field position and should have not necessarily iced the game, because there would have been a lot of time left.
Yeah.
But they should have gone up 10 at this point. Isaiah Pacheco has a big run. puts the
Mhm.
Chiefs inside the 5-yard line, and then all of a sudden we're like, hey, why don't we draw up a play for McCole Hardman, who fumbled the ball earlier in the game?
Earlier in the game, yeah.
Yeah. So we run a sweep. McCole Hardman running to the left, fumbles the football. And where does the football go, Tyler?
Out of bounds in the end zone.
And what does that mean?
Touchback. Bills ball
And the Bills get the ball.
on the 20, yep.
So instead of the Chiefs going up 10, we get nothing out of the stupidity of the fake punt. We're like, hey, we'll see your stupidity and raise you a McCole Hardman fumble. How about that?
I thought you were going to call the what am I trying to say? That play call or that rule stupid. I hate that rule.
Okay.
We'll touch on it in the off season.
We can talk about it. I go back and forth on that rule.
Okay.
But
we got too much to talk about. We'll get into that later.
so McCole Hardman, back on track here. McCole Hardman has touched the ball 2 times. He's fumbled the ball twice. He didn't lose the first one, but he lost the second one. So in my opinion,
one of our guys recovered it for him, I think.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, why don't we just have McCole Hardman hit the showers? Because he's done nothing productive tonight. So
that's what I said on. Go ahead.
Also, why are we not giving Isaiah Pacheco the ball in that spot? McCole Hardman has done nothing to deserve the football at that point in the game. Nothing.
That's well said. I can't add any more to that. Because, after the first fumble that he luckily got away with, I was on Twitter like, he cannot touch the ball the rest of the game. Just, I don't want to see McCole Hardman at all. Okay? And then what happens? This ridiculous play happens. It's just so out of place. Like, why? What are we doing? That's not even necessarily a high percentage play for a guy who's been on injury. And as you said, it doesn't deserve that play there. You have much better, playmakers. And to talk about Pacheco, the dude was like beast mode 2.0 this game. He was awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Just huge chunk plays. 9 to 10 or 12 yards at points. And then Rashee Rice, his ability to
Yak man.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was 2 plays where he went up and had like 2 really good contested catches for first downs. Like really nice like jump balls. And I'm like, this guy has it all. Like he has every ability you need.
You want to know who else had a really good night? It's
MVS?
a guy that we've been dogging on all season long.
Sure
two catches for 62 yards.
That's all you need.
2 not easy catches for 62 yards. So shout out to MVS for being productive for the first time all year. Better late than never. Good for him. And I loved that on the first one he caught it and kind of held the ball up and ran out of bounds. Like, look, Ma, I got it. Like that's. But
I thought that too. I'm like, yeah, this dude's celebrating now that he made 2 catches all year.
Yeah, it was good to see. Getting booed for not being able to catch routine balls. I think the moral of the story is that MVS just needs to make circus catches, and unless it's a game-winning pass in Green Bay, he should catch it.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's had plenty of chances for those and not caught them, but yeah, to go back. So yeah, they fumble out of the end zone. They get it back on the 20. Shortly, maybe a couple plays later, Josh Allen fumbles the ball. And I don't know who tried to scoop and score it, but they didn't get it. Just dived on the ball. It was like
football 101, man.
Yeah.
Fall on the ball.
Are we into the third quarter or is this?
Oh, yeah.
We're deep into the fourth now, right?
Yeah. Josh Allen was trying to have a turnover because he almost threw a pick to McDuffie too. He was like, he's like, you know what I haven't done today? I haven't turned the football over. So he's like, I got to do that real quick. Like there was a point in this game where it was
So close.
we had the lead changes back and forth, and then all of a sudden we're like, "Whoa!" Both teams are like, "I don't want to win the game." No,
Yeah.
you have the ball.
Well, because right there, the Hardman touchdown, you said it. We would have been up. It
It would
was
have been
already 27-24 at that point.
yeah, it would have been 34-24 pinning the
Yeah, it would have been.
PAT.
We would have been up 10
Yeah.
points, and then that fumble happens, and we probably still would have scored there. Would have been up, again 10 points or something. I'm just like so many missed opportunities. I'm like those two mistakes, that's gonna kill us, but it
The,
didn't.
the Bills had a chance though in the fourth. Josh Allen just heaves a pass that was pretty much perfect to Stephon Diggs, and Stephon Diggs just flat out didn't catch it.
Yeah, there is something wrong with Stephon Diggs. He has not had like a good second half of the season, and there's a lot of question marks. He still has some ridiculous 4 years on his contract, I think, and I don't know. We can talk about them in the offseason, but that's kind of crazy. Like your wide receiver one just can't show up, and there I think it's this maybe 2 or 3 plays after that where he almost threw a touchdown pass, and Stephon Diggs was wide, like right across the middle of the field, and he would have gotten a first down. And he starts that these are like 2 or 3 plays in the fourth quarter where Josh Allen, he was so patient. The whole game they just kept running right down the Chiefs' throats, and just dominating time of possession. And then all of a sudden they just start, I think it was mostly Josh Allen, is not taking what the defense is giving him, and keep moving the ball. And yeah, he made 2 or 3 of these throws that it's like he just kind of lost the game plan there. And I think he really cost at the end of the game, mind you. Like again, he's not the only problem here, but I think right there at the end of the game, those decisions really turned the tide, at that point of the game and really kind of lost it for him.
So we're at the fun part of the game. Bills have the ball. They're driving down. Chiefs make a stop, but the Bills are in field goal. They're in field goal range, and all Tyler Bass has to do, it's very simple. All he has to do is he has to come out and make I believe it was a 44-yard field goal, and ties the game. Chiefs will get the ball back with a lot of time left, but a good chance of the game going to OT if
It's like
Patrick,
a minute 44
yeah,
or something.
Patrick Mahomes would probably have ripped the Bills' heart out again. But
They had 2 timeouts left.
so
Yeah.
so Tyler Bass, who missed 2 field goals last week against Pittsburgh,
One was blocked, I think.
comes in. And I think you said the same thing. Again, this is not a gimme field goal for Tyler Bass. He's been a little shaky.
No.
The weather's a little iffy tonight. No guarantees. This isn't the old Tyler Bass. What does he do? He misses the dang kick.
Wide
and
right.
misses a wide right. And at that point, I'm thinking, oh, the Bills don't have that timeout that they probably wanted from earlier in the third quarter. They only have 2 timeouts left. So Chiefs are sitting pretty, and didn't end up mattering about the timeouts because 8-yard rush by Pacheco and then another 3 yards got picked up. So they picked up that first down and just ended up icing the game there. But the whole thing, nobody picked the Chiefs. It's just, it's what we do. We find ways to discount the Chiefs any way that we can. I don't know why we continue to do it. But Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs go into Buffalo and come away victorious and are going to their 6th straight AFC Championship game. Patrick Mahomes has only been a starter for 6 seasons.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything else.
I mean, that is incredibly hard to do. to make it to the championship game 6 years in a row. That is insanely difficult to go to the Super Bowl 3 times, to win twice. This is all like Tom Brady stuff, early Patriots type, caliber, level of difficulty. Like, this is not normal, you know? Like, how many Aaron Rodgers went to how many Super Bowls and won how many? You know
Aaron
what I mean?
Rodgers? Yeah,
Right.
one.
Right.
1-1.
Like, we're
Patrick
talking
Mahomes,
about some of the greatest players of all time.
Tom Brady won
This
3
is
Super
not normal.
Bowls. Tom Brady won 3 Super Bowls by the time he was 30. Patrick Mahomes is 28.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only does that say about how good they are, it's just how good this team is, how good the coaching is, just the whole franchise. But that is not this is not easy. This is not normal. That is incredibly difficult and impressive. But yeah, I did. I actually went back and watched the highlights of this game today, this morning, and Tyler Bass's first field goal of the game. Everybody should go watch this. Watch that first drive. Watch his first kick. It did the exact same thing, but it was maybe a 20 or 30-yard kick, but it did the same thing. It went up and then curved way right and then straightened out and just barely went in on the right, upright. I mean, it was the exact same kick, except the one at the last kept going right. And yeah, just what a game. Buffalo
So,
fans chucking, snowballs, and Mahomes dances off the field. It was it was glorious.
yeah. Chiefs went to your house, just like you said. And now they own the house. So pack your bags.
It's just, yeah, it was ridiculous. There was just so much trash talk, by Buffalo fans. Like, well, now it's different. Now we're not at Arrowhead anymore. You're at our house, and it's like, well,
That's
what
cool.
are you saying now?
Yeah.
You went
Oh,
home.
yeah. So Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are undefeated on the road in the playoffs. Gonna go to Baltimore,
One for
but
one.
before we leave this game, so stats came out about the ratings from the game today. So CBS announced that the game between the Bills and the Chiefs was the most watched divisional round game ever, with 50 million
Wow.
plus tuning in. So this is a few things, I think. Number one, loyal Chiefs fans both locally and nationally. Um, Swifties, shout out Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
Swifties.
Yeah.
And I think the Chiefs have a lot of hate watchers. I think there was a lot of people watching this game, in favor of the Bills winning it. Obviously,
Hmm.
Bills Mafia winning it, and then people that are just tired of the Chiefs. So I think there's just
Right.
Chiefs Kingdom plus hate watching plus Swifties equals 50 million plus people watching part 3 of Chiefs and Bills.
Yeah. I think there's an equal amount of like people whose teams are out of it who don't hate the Chiefs and are like, yeah, it's a good team. Let's watch. Obviously this is game of the week material,
Yep.
and it turned out to be that way, but yeah. When Pacheco scored his touchdown, they cut to Swift, and she was like Pacheco, and like did these like jazz hands, like I don't know, she was like exploding her hands or something. I don't know what she was doing, but to see her mouth like Pacheco was pretty cool.
Well,
27 yards.
unfortunately we can't sit here and talk about the Bills and Chiefs all night, even though we want to.
Fair enough.
There were 3 other games this weekend. The 1 seeds played on Saturday. The Ravens welcomed the Texans. And my goodness, the Houston Texans did not have fun. The Houston
No.
Texans had a bad time. They lost. Oh my goodness. They lost 34-10. And the one touchdown that the Texans scored was a special teams. It was a punt return. So Texans accomplished essentially nothing in Baltimore.
Yeah, it was a slow start for both teams. And like you said, they one special teams touchdown. It was 10-10 at halftime, and then the Texans didn't score in the third and fourth quarter.
Texans missed they missed a field goal at the end of the first half. So they could have had the lead.
Anyway. I forgot about that. But yeah, Texans clearly the younger team. You know, just the inexperience definitely showed through here. I think if this is year 2 or 3 of CJ Stroud, it's a much different, style of game. But the Texans had like a million pre-snap penalties. Both offense and defense. It was insane. They just could not get out of their own way. So that's really why they stumbled here. But
yeah, I will say Houston Texans, I think exceeded everybody's expectations this year. Nobody had them pegged as a division winner, let alone winning a playoff game. So to make it to the divisional round in your quarterback's rookie year, your head coach's rookie year, props to the Texans for having a really quick turnaround after going through multiple years of just complete nonsense as a franchise. But
well, again, last year they were 3-13-1. Like to go from 3 wins to playing in this game, like that is really cool.
Yeah,
and they're probably going to be a problem.
Yeah, CJ Stroud's already a good player in this league, and he's just going to get better with experience. But yeah, Lamar Jackson pretty much put the team on his back in this game. Obviously, Ravens defense is great, but Lamar Jackson, he threw for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he rushed for 100 yards and had 2 rushing touchdowns. So this was Lamar Jackson MVP game.
Yeah.
So the nightcap on Saturday night was 49ers hosting the Packers. Packers obviously went into Dallas last week, dismantled the old Cowboys, and then had to go on the road, face the 49ers. And honestly, the Packers were a missed field goal and a really, really bad interception away from winning this football game, I think.
I'd say 2 or 3. Oh, wait, what do you mean by bad interception?
Jordan Love's interception that ended the game.
Yes, that was a terrible. So
horrendous.
We'll jump straight to that.
Yeah.
That was on first down.
Yeah, it was horrendous.
That was such a bad choice, and that is just that is actually that is a really bad play there because
running to his right, throws it across his body,
and the field
into triple coverage.
And yeah, what I'm getting at here is I still see Love as a rookie, and he's not. Like, what are you doing, guy? That was such a good game, and you could have dismantled this 49ers team who is stacked. This was a great game, and they can't score in the fourth quarter. And Brock Purdy, this is what I was confused about. Purdy almost threw 2 or 3 interceptions.
Well, that's very pro football focus of you to say.
No, I watched it. What do you mean, almost?
That's a pro football focus thing. Anyway,
Brock Purdy led that game. He almost threw 2 interceptions.
Yeah, he led the game-winning touchdown drive.
He did, but he did not look good. He did not look very good. My point being, it should have been more of a blowout toward San Francisco's side, and the Packers almost beat them at home. This should not have been this close, is what I'm getting at.
Well, yeah. Jordan Love's season and the Packers season ended the same way that Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers season ended, and that's with their quarterbacks making silly decisions. The difference between Baker Mayfield's interception and Jordan Love's is I think Baker Mayfield just never saw that linebacker on that interception that he threw. But
right.
Yeah, so the Lions, this was another good game. Lions and Bucs. It was a little bit closer than, again, it probably should have been. I know a lot of people were like picking the Buccaneers, which I didn't understand. But because just the atmosphere that the Lions have created at home.
Yeah.
Like what what makes you think that Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers are going to go into Detroit
Right.
and do anything? And you know, to their credit, they made it a game. I didn't think it was going to be that interesting. But Jared Goff was really good. The last of the pocket passing quarterbacks, Jared Goff, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the Detroit Lions are going to their first NFC Championship game since 1991.
Crazy. Yeah, this this was really a good game. Never really thought Bucks were in it. Like it was strangely a slow game. You know, there was plenty of action, but I don't know. They were kind of lulling each other to sleep, and then they would kind of show up and score a touchdown, and then the Lions were like, okay, you're done now. Like we're gonna put you to bed. We're gonna move on and play the Niners.
So let's jump ahead to next week because the conference championships are next week. 49ers are going to host the Detroit Lions. Tyler, who you got this week or in this game?
I think we're both gonna take the Niners, and that's a tough one because I think we all, I mean, honestly, every NFL fan wants to see the Lions, you know, go all the way. Obviously, if you're a Chiefs fan, whether you're, gonna play the Lions or the Niners, it's gonna be pretty cool because the Lions beat us, in game one, this year. That could be a really cool kind of rematch story for 2 weeks leading into the Super Bowl. That would actually be pretty awesome. But yeah, I think that, like I've said many times, the Niners just have such an explosive offense. They have so many weapons, and it's really hard for them to lose. If the Lions somehow pull this game out, it's going to be probably one of the greater games we've ever seen. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on the 49ers. I think that um they're just better. And
yeah,
like for me, the one thing that I think of is like the Lions do have Jared Goff, and Jared Goff has been there, done that. So I do feel like
sure.
he's he could be the X factor this week. But I'm with you. I think like Chiefs 49ers, a rematch of Super Bowl that they played recently, and then Chiefs Lions. Let's just end the season the way we started it, but
That'd be
let's have a different outcome.
right.
So yeah, I'm 49ers too. I've been 49ers pretty much since like week 3 of the season. So
Yeah.
I'm not coming off of that. But the early game, Chiefs again got to go on the road and play Baltimore. The Chiefs, or excuse me, wow. Patrick Mahomes is 3-1 versus Lamar Jackson, and that one loss
Mhm.
against Lamar Jackson is because Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled the football when the Chiefs were just trying to ice the game.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was in Baltimore. That was the season that they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Bucs. That was when they
Okay.
started out like 3-7 or whatever it was. They just had like stupid thing after stupid thing happen.
Mhm.
But anyway, I like the Chiefs here on the road. I know that the Ravens defense is the best, but what I have seen from the Chiefs offense just the last 2 weeks, um, just makes me feel like they have enough to put it together to outlast Baltimore. I think you've seen outside of McCall Hardman, you've seen um, them play a little bit better fundamentally. There weren't many. I don't think Jawan Taylor had a penalty last week, so they've been minimizing those just kind of silly mistakes that they have been making all season. And also they have Patrick Mahomes as their leader, and again, we like I don't need to spend a ton of time on that. But defensively, this is the best defense of the Patrick Mahomes era. So I think that they will do a good job containing the weapons that Baltimore has. Now they should be getting Mark Andrews back this week. I don't know how much of a factor he'll play, but I mean, I like our chances. I think it's going to be important that they contain or they have a spy on Lamar Jackson and they don't let him go crazy. They don't let him go crazy on his legs. They got to keep him in the pocket. I think that's going to be a key to victory. And then back to the offensive side for the Chiefs. Score in the red zone. Score in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be kicking field goals. But I know you got the Chiefs too. I'll let you say your piece.
Sure. I mean, I'll say this. I had a lot of doubts going into this week, or last week, going into Buffalo and the whole thing. Wasn't buying into the whole away game stuff. I said that last week. I was like, I don't really care about that, but just this Chiefs team has not been that strong. They've made so many mistakes, all the drops. They've just been a pretty weak team, and I was just like, Bills really want it, and I had tons of doubts. I no longer have doubts anymore. It's like Nick Wright says, never a doubt. It's like I never doubt Mahomes, and I'm never watching games where I'm like, we're out of it. This game's over. I'm going to go, watch TV somewhere else or whatever. It's like we've seen these guys come back from ridiculous odds. And I mean, look at the Packers, as you said, dismantle the Cowboys. Anything's possible any given Sunday. And the Chiefs just are coming off of an amazing win, again at Buffalo. I think they can contain. They obviously didn't contain Josh Allen that well. He had a lot of rushing yards, but they did on a lot of plays. They really did. That was their game plan. The whole QB spy stuff with Willie Gay and his injury. I'm like, there's other people who can play QB spy. It doesn't have to be Willie Gay. Somebody else can go out there. And they had a lot of really good defensive plans for that. Because I'm not too worried about the offense. I think the offense can figure it out. Whether or not they can stop, the Baltimore offense is another question. I don't know. I think it could look very similar to the Bills game where it's a lot of back and forth, and then both the teams kind of figure out what's going on, and it slows down, and probably, who has the ball last?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you with everything you said there. We've had reasons to think, I don't know about this Chiefs team. Because there's just, I mean, you watch the game, and it was never because of Patrick Mahomes. It was always like, I just don't trust these skill position players to not do something silly at a very important moment of the game. But, I have kind of evaluated them from a week to week basis, and the last, the wild card round on this and the divisional round tells me that this team is in a really good spot to win this football game and go to what would be the fourth Super Bowl of the Patrick Mahomes era.
Let's do it.
Well, yeah, we won't know until 2:00 Central on Sunday. Well, it'll be more like 5:30 Central on Sunday what the outcome of that game is. But festivities get started Sunday. Both games, the Chiefs and the Ravens, are the early game. 49ers and Lions are the late game. Tyler, if you don't have anything else, I'm going to get us out of here.
No, that's good, man. We'll follow us on Twitter or X. I hate calling it X. At podkingdom.com. We haven't received any emails. What are you guys doing? Whoever's listening to this, send me an email. footballkingdom@gmail.com. Let us know, what you want to hear from us in this off season. What kind of shows do you want us to talk about? Or topics basically, because there's going to be the news cycle in the NFL is 24/7. At this point, it's year round. There's always going to be news to talk about. But yeah, I got a couple ideas of fun stuff to talk about, kind of more history for the NFL. But yeah, start sending emails. Let us know what you guys want to hear.
Do all that he just said.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening this week. We will see you next Wednesday to recap the conference championships and do a preview of the Super Bowl. Bye.
Later.